Hey guys, what's up? This is Jeremy from the New Release Wall. Today we're going to talk about a dark song.
I've done this 3 times. Once it worked, twice it didn't.
I have to hear his voice again.
This is your last chance to back out.
Seal it.
You do know what we're taking on.
It's an independent film. This movie is directed from Liam Gavin. It's filmed in Dublin, Ireland. The producers are the Irish Film Board. It almost sounds like it was commissioned by the government. The quick overview is it's about a woman who's in her 30s. She lost a kid, apparently to other kids, killing her kid in a ritual, like a cult sacrifice, sort of. They didn't really get into details, but you get the vibe that the kid got killed almost ritualistically from some unnamed teenage cult members or kids dabbling in magic. In response to this, she enlists a magician of her own. It's a guy who specializes in ritualistic magic, and he's commissioned to help her go through a long, intense ritual that will, in the end, summon her guardian angel. Now, once the angel gets summoned, she apparently gets a wish, and so does the guy who helped her. So that's part of why he is involved. She's also paying him a lot of money. I mean, it's the movie's is got quite a setup. Now, right off the bat, like if I had read that just in text, that synopsis, I'd have been like, this movie is gonna be so dumb. But it turns out that the movie's not. Like, somehow they pull all of that off. And it ends up not being cliche. It ends up very well done. The acting is really good. It's an independent film, so the budget's not that high, but they make up for it with acting and story, like writing. And apparently this ritual that they go through is actually a real magic ritual. Like, people actually do this ritual. And in the movie, the ritual takes, I think they said 6 months, which is long enough. I mean, can you imagine doing something in your house where you can't leave the house for 6 months, like going through this repetitive ritualistic process? But in reality, a ritual that actually is sort of like the basis of this ritual in this movie takes 18 months, I believe. And if you know who Aleister Crowley is, he actually attempted this ritual. He didn't make it through it. He broke it. They said he actually summoned, like, and this is the legend, he actually summoned corporeal demons, but then was like, guys, I got something going on, I gotta go, and didn't bind them. And because he didn't bind them, they wreaked havoc all over the place and eventually burnt the house down. I mean, that was sort of the gist that I got. I mean, it's insane. But this thing actually has some history to it, this ritual that they go through in the movie. Now, there were some people that know about the magic, apparently, and they were nitpicking like the actual ritual itself. But it's interesting because, you know, we're so used to magic being kind of like sort of like a computer program that people, like, when they say certain words, then a magic thing happens, and kind of like in the same way that you would a computer program if you just know the right words and you say them the right time. Anyway, the acting is really good. If you were to ask, like, somebody would ask me, well, what's the downside of the movie? Like, because that's what was good about the movie. The downside of the movie was, well, it's it only takes place in like a few settings. So there's parts of it that seem kind of slow. And as you get through the movie, you realize that this movie relies heavily on, like, as you're going, you're like, it's getting a little slow. And you're like, man, this is gonna have to have a payout to be a good movie. There's movies like that where the movie itself has to pay off. Like, at a certain point of building everything up, the movie itself has to pay off in the end, or else it's almost completely relying on the ending. Now, I don't want to tell you the ending because I don't want to spoil it. You don't know if I like tragedies or comedies, so I'm gonna try not to give you a hint about the ending of the movie. Before I upset you with my hot take on whether or not I like this movie, hit the like button. Okay, on to my rating. All I want to say is my recommendation for this movie, if somebody would ask, is I would recommend it. This movie gets a big recommendation from me. I can't put it in must see because there's some people that wouldn't necessarily, I feel like some people, it might be a little slow for some people, but for me, I loved it. And so it's got to be a recommended for me. What movie would you need to like this movie? It's kind of a hard one. This movie has a little bit kind of the same feeling and vibe as The Messenger. The Messenger is another movie which is, it's got some, you know, like sort of religious vision symbolism in it. I can't think of anything else that would be like this movie. But if you like The Messenger, you'd like this movie. If you didn't like The Messenger, if you watched that and you were like, oh, then you might not like this movie, especially since this is a little bit slower. The Messenger actually had some action. And that's it for this particular movie. Like and subscribe. Again, like the video, comment down below whether or not you liked it, or, you know, maybe even some questions. Stop by the new release wall and make a critic account. Like, give us your opinions on the movies that you like. That's it for A Dark Song, and I'll see you in the next review.